So over the last few years, we've seen a lot of influencers straight up scam their audience. Whether that's with those crypto rug pulls that we've seen, or those online casinos that are literally made just to hook an audience, and we've also seen a lot of penny stocks getting pumped, just because the influencer knows that that's what people will click on, or they're actually just straight up getting paid by this company. Um, Essentially, what I'm trying to get at is that we've seen that a lot of social media influencers are kind of getting away with exploiting their audience for their own pay. It's pretty easy to detect when it's people like, that Hawk to a Girl or Andrew Tate or Logan Paul or whoever else is getting exposed by CoffeeZilla this week. But these scams exist in basically every industry. An example that we might know is with fitness influencers that sell programs that are just cookie cutter basic programs and tell you that give you this guarantee that you will look like them if you just follow this program, but they forget to tell you everything else that they're doing, including whatever supplements they're using, right? This happens in a lot of industries, and obviously I don't want to talk about all of them, but I want to specifically talk about the finance industry and the finance space, especially on YouTube, where these people will come out as very trustworthy and very knowledgeable, and although they do have some important information and some information that is of great value to other people, what you have to realize is that a lot of the times, whatever they previously discouraged, they might go back on their word, or they might not do the proper due diligence that they should have done before promoting something. A big example of this that I remember is with Graham Stephan and all his guys, where they promoted like FTX, or they promoted all these crypto related things that they themselves said that you shouldn't do, a little time back, maybe a few years back. Um, it's not just people promoting things who they're getting sponsored by, actively making money on these things. Even influencers who offer you free advice, for example, like stock picks, they will also mislead you for views. A lot of the time, these influencers who will give the new 5 stocks, the new 10 stocks that you should invest in to double your money, they know that that is what will generate clicks and not the actual generic advice. Or they themselves, just have no clue what they're talking about, but they've convinced themselves that they do. And what does that lead to? Well, it leads to advice that will underperform even the simplest strategies, like putting your money into an index fund. And that actually doesn't just underperform, but will actually cause people who follow that advice to lose their money. I know a big example of this at the time I was very interested in the finance space was with Jeremy from Financial Education. If you go back and you look at his picks, you realize that there was very little properly done research behind why he gave those picks, and you'll see that most of them have dropped like more than 50%. You would have lost more than half your money. I think a lot of them are even bankrupt. Like you would have lost 100% of your money if you followed his advice. And you know, I want to kind of show you guys how to detect this and tell you the alternatives that we have that don't have to rely on speculative investments. But before that, I kind of want to talk about my personal experience. I've always been very, driven by financial goals. So when I had turned 18, I knew that I could finally start investing and actually finally start using my money to make more money. Because before this, I was just saving everything I made from my part time job and only spending the cash I had on hand. And nobody taught me good advice on how to use my money. Nobody taught me that I should be putting it in an index fund, and I'll get into like the the actual details of that a little bit later in this video. But because nobody taught me that, I did what any young person would do. I turned to YouTube, and what did YouTube show me? It pushed me a lot more towards very speculative investments, very risky investments that I had no business dealing with because I didn't understand them, nor did the people who were telling me about them did they understand them. The example that I had in my life was a company called Shift Technologies. It was getting shilled by this guy named Meet Kevin, who currently is still very popular, meaning that these guys don't face the consequences of losing their audience, like I think they should, when they make these pretty irresponsible mistakes. And I take full accountability, but like, do you want to guess what happens when I search up that company's name? Like, you don't see anything about the company. Why? Well, they went bankrupt. So all the money that you put into it, you will not get it back. Luckily, it's a lesson that I learned early on. It's a lesson that I'm actually very glad I learned. And even if I had to learn it the hard way by losing thousands of dollars, I was able to use it to make way more money than that. That way, um, that amount I lost felt a lot more insignificant to me. But how did I go about learning, and what did I learn? Well, the first thing is that it shows two key vulnerabilities in a lot of people that you need to fix in yourself. The first one is about FOMO. People have this idea that they will get in before everybody else, and that if they don't get in, they are missing out, right? FOMO, the fear of missing out. But on top of that, they believe that like they're the chosen one who will get in before everybody else, even though they have no idea why something would make them money. The second thing is that social media can have people have blind faith in whatever is trending. Just because somebody says a few things that are true does not mean that everything they say is true. I think we saw that a lot with a lot of the like red pill masculine space, where just because they said a few things that were true, people started going and thinking that everything that person said is what they think as well, right? It was a huge lack of critical understanding. But if we bring this back to finances, what that means is you do not invest in things you don't understand. If you cannot control how to replicate that process, as in do it again, it means you don't understand it and you should not invest in it. Instead, what you need to be doing is focus on building wealth by finding something that follows these three things. It's something that you actually care about, meaning you have a passion in it. Better yet, you're actually obsessed about this. The second thing is you are naturally talented at it, like you genetically or through your experience, you have an edge in it. And then the third thing is you find something that will address a problem in the real world, which leads to you getting paid. So if you find something that hits those three categories, that's what you should be putting your money towards. Putting money towards you becoming more educated in that field, you gaining more skills in that field, you gaining more experience in that field. That's what you need to be putting your money in, not towards things that you don't understand. The only thing is that finding that thing takes a lot of time, and it also takes a lot of effort on your part by trying different things. So what you can do in the meantime is you find meaningful work in a field with demand. Get your feet wet, get some experience in that field, but when you do, you need to make sure that you are standing out professionally, right? You have to go above and beyond with your work if you want to be the one that gets to dictate whether you stay or whether you can move to a different position or whether you can start your own thing. And how do you do that apart from just working hard? Well, you take it as a competition, but also you have to make sure you are somebody that other people want to work with, meaning you don't just develop your skills in that domain, you also develop things like your social skills and your team working and your leadership skills to be somebody that people enjoy working with. If you have that mindset that I want to be somebody that I would want to work with, um, you'll get so much further in your career and your business, whatever the case is, right? Um, Also, if you do work hard, what ends up happening is that you realize all the time and all the effort that you put into making this amount of money, and you become a better saver because you are able to make that connection that this much work, this much energy equals this much money. Okay, I don't want to use this money in a irresponsible way. And on top of that, if you do live below your means, that's how you become wealthy. All wealth is how much you make minus how much you actually spend. The rest of that can go towards something. In my opinion, you should be using a high interest savings account, and you should be investing that money using a tax advantage account into things like an index fund, because those things do not take time out of your day, and instead you can spend that time and all that energy into building more money, into building the thing that makes you more money, generating more income. it's very likely that you do not have enough money that even if it doubled or tripled, it would, set you for life, or it would change you for life. So instead, slowly put that money into something that will grow over time. I'll put an example here of what saving $100 a month into an index fund will happen over time. And what it does is that money that you are saving because you're living below your means and you're really only investing in things that will gain you more experience, it provides you a safety net, meaning you can go risk on. When you do find that thing, or when you have a hunch that, yeah, this is what I would want to go into, this is the career, this is the business, this is the personal venture that I would want to go into, you are able to actually do it. You don't have to rely on the money you do have because you have a safety net, right? If you want to take a pay cut, if you want to quit your job, if you want to travel the world, right? These are all things that you can do. And what does this do? It provides confidence in you, knowing that you have the ability to make money and that you actually have some money. It gives you the freedom to actually enjoy a lot of things in life without financial stress. A big thing is traveling. For myself, I have like no stress on can I afford to travel here, because I, took the sacrifice of saving for a couple years, and for a couple years not doing any big trips. And what you have to realize is that if you do that early on, that money compounds, like I showed in the graph, meaning that money will just become bigger over time, meaning you can adjust accordingly towards your spending, right? So that's like the main thing here is you want to find something that hits those three criteria, and you want to actually throw yourself in the fire and stay busy that way. You become less of a consumer because you realize what work does, how much work it takes to build this much amount of money, and at the same time you're keeping yourself occupied by finding something you actually enjoy. You would spend your money to do things that you enjoy, so why not you actually make money to do those things? um, Hopefully that made sense. The other thing is, how I want to kind of end this video is that a lot of financial YouTubers and just YouTubers in general, they operate their business on constant views and constant content creation. And there's a lot of good advice on YouTube. Like it's completely changed my life on like so many educational topics that I would have not known without YouTube. But the issue is you can only get this education so many times, and YouTubers need to continually make money, because it can be a very lucrative opportunity. So what they may do is they may reformat their content through like reacting to whatever's in trend and then talking about the same topic. Essentially what I'm trying to get at is that you may outgrow the education that you're currently looking for on YouTube, and you need to be okay with that. And if somebody is starting to change their tone for the worse, that you don't believe what they're saying, and they're going through these like speculative investments, they're launching their own coin, or whatever the case is, you need to have the critical thinking to know that, okay, I took the good from what I got from this YouTube channel, from this influencer, and I'm not going to take whatever may actually harm me, right? So for this YouTube channel that I have, I do this out of passion, and I do this out of empathy for my younger self who wanted to succeed but did not know how to start, who had all these questions but didn't know who to ask, and instead got exploited as an audience member, right? That's why I don't want this platform uh, to like be the thing that I depend on for my income, but instead I want to use the income that I make from my side business and my career as an engineer to buy my freedom and talk about the things that I think are worth helping you out, and things that will just give me personal fulfillment. Other than that, I hope you guys got some value out of this video. If you agree, disagree, just let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Other than that, see you guys later.